Going to do an oil change on my 2014 Honda Shadow Aero in this video. Some of this footage was also used in a video on how to change your clutch for the same bike. I am not a mechanic, so please take this video with a grain of salt, but I'm sure it will help some people. So I've locked my front wheel in a wheel chock and jacked the back of my motorcycle up so that I have room to swing a wrench on the drain plug bolt here, because it's pretty close to the ground. Now I will have to move this jack forward to the front in order to take the oil filter off afterwards. Now this is a 17mm wrench to undo this bolt. It's fairly easy, and you can see there's red on here. I mark it every time with a Sharpie or my wife's nail polish so that I can tell if it's moved or not, if it starts to drip. Wrench out of there. You don't want to over tighten these. There is a torque spec, but the problem is getting a torque wrench and a socket in here with the frame being so close is kind of difficult. So we're going to let that drain. Put a new drain plug and washer back in, and then we'll move over to changing the oil filter. Time to replace the oil drain plug and washer. Here is the plug part number. Now, the washers are about 60 cents each, so I buy a bunch of them at once. And these are genuine Honda. The torque spec for this bolt is 21 foot-pounds, but there's not enough room to get my torque wrench in between here and here. I suppose I could use a crow's foot, but I don't own one. I tried grinding a socket down to make it fit, but you're right against the housing and I don't want to break anything, so we're just not going to over tighten it. So it is snug. We'll give it like another 1/8 turn. And what you're feeling there is the washer squishing out right here. So that's all I'm going to do. Onto the oil filter. I have repositioned my jack under the motorcycle so that I can get to the oil filter. This is the part number for the oil filter. And for another $10, you can get this, which is the Honda specific wrench. I highly recommend it. Here's the part number for Honda's oil filter wrench. This nut on the oil filter wrench is 17mm. It's just the rubber washer that's a bit grabby. Okay, that's good. So we'll put a drain pan underneath. Number one thing to make sure when you pull this off is that you get the rubber washer. Hey, we even made the drain pan. You see the rubber washer on the end right here? As long as we have that, we're golden. There's a trick I like to use putting the oil filter on. I saw it on Del Boy's garage years ago, and it works really well. First, you wet the seal. You spin this on by hand till it just stops. Mark a line. Have that line go over 180 degrees to the other side, and then you're perfect. And I've done it for several years now and never had a problem. So let's give it a try. So let's wet that oil seal with the oil out of the tray. This is used synthetic oil. I'm spinning the filter on till it just seats. Yep, 2 fingers, I can't move it. That should be it. Okay, there the oil filter's on and it's all cleaned up with brake clean. Now I will watch this when I go for my first few rides.
So I always use a new plug and a new crush washer because you lose that safety when you reuse this. But I'm gonna mark this so that I can tell if it moves, because I will come back and check it. It's just a good tip. You may want to pause the screen here, but basically this tells you what kind of engine oil to use. And what you want to get from this is 1030 or 1040, and it's motorcycle wet clutch oil. Don't use car oil. To put the new oil in the engine, we have to undo the dipstick. I like this funnel a lot because I can pour the oil in and then I turn the collar and the oil flows through and into the engine. That way I know exactly how much I put. So this is another important screen, and this is engine oil capacity, and it's 2.5 liters without a filter, 2.6 liters with a filter, and 3.2 liters if the engine's been fully disassembled. From the Honda manual, this is how to check your engine oil. You may want to pause the screen and read it. After we've added our oil, we want to put our dipstick back in. The manual says that we want to start our bike and run it for 2 to 3 minutes. We want to make sure that this oil light goes out, or we want to shut our bike off. Now our oil light should have gone out fairly quickly. The manual says wait 2 to 3 minutes and then check your oil. The way to check your oil on a Honda is to take the dipstick out, wipe it down, and with the bike straight up, put the dipstick in, but don't screw it in. Pull it out, and your oil should be between the lines. And your oil should be between the lines. See, that's full there. On this side, it shows halfway up. That's perfect. The last thing we need to do is replace the dipstick and tighten it up. I hope this video helps you. If it does, can you give it a thumbs up? And I will link other videos to this bike in the description.